Inside the Merton mansion, police find Fred and Sheila dead in a scene that defies the logic of a home invasion. There is no forced entry. The killer moved through the house in thick socks to avoid leaving footprints, navigating the floor with a familiarity that suggests they've walked these halls 1,000 times. The primary weapon, a massive carving knife, is found exactly where it belongs. It's tucked into the kitchen knife block, scrubbed perfectly clean of Fred Merton's blood. Cleaning a murder weapon and returning it isn't the behavior of a panicked burglar. It requires a level of comfort and calculation that only someone intimately familiar with the household would possess. This happened in Brecon Hill, a secluded Hudson Valley enclave where massive estates are tucked behind thick trees and private drives. It's the kind of environment where the neighbors are close enough to be elite, but far enough away that no one hears a scream. Fred and Sheila raised 3 children here: Catherine, a doctor, Dan, a businessman, and Jenna, an artist. From the outside, they are the picture of East Coast success, heirs to a robotics fortune. But Fred Merton didn't just provide for his family, he hunted them. He used his wealth as a tool for emotional torture, systematically manipulating his children's careers, finances, and self-worth for his own amusement. The siblings lived in a cycle of domestic abuse, trapped by the very fortune they were waiting to inherit. For them, Fred's money was more than wealth. It was the only way to buy their freedom from him. At Easter dinner, Fred finally pushed them to the edge. He announced he was selling the family home to spite Catherine, confirmed he had sold the business Dan expected to run, and threatened to cut off Jenna's allowance entirely. Less than 24 hours after that dinner dissolved into a shouting match, Fred and Sheila were found butchered in their home. When detectives questioned the family's loyal housekeeper, Irina, she admitted to finding the bloody carving knife on the floor and immediately scrubbing it clean. Irina had spent 30 years watching Fred torment his children. The moment she saw the bodies, she assumed one of the siblings had finally snapped, and she tampered with the evidence to protect the person she'd helped raise. The children didn't make it easy for investigators to look elsewhere. Catherine claimed she stayed home that night, but later admitted she actually drove back to the mansion, discovered the bodies, and then went home to bed without telling a soul, not even her husband. In Dan's garage, police found a hidden, opened package of disposable forensic coveralls. It's the kind of gear that would allow a killer to walk away from a bloodbath without leaving a single trace of DNA on their own clothes. Jenna's alibi fell apart when her boyfriend told police he wasn't actually with her the night of the murders. He had lied to give her cover, but couldn't stick to the story once the detectives started pressing. While all 3 siblings had the motive to kill, their instinct to lie makes it nearly impossible to determine who is a murderer and who is simply a victim of their father's toxic legacy. The financial stakes shifted when Fred's sister, Audrey, claimed that Fred was planning to sign a new will that very week, one that would disinherit his children and leave half the estate to her. There was another complication. Fred had a secret, illegitimate daughter named Rose. Under the current law, she was entitled to an equal slice of the Merton millions. Rose was facing a prison sentence for committing massive financial fraud against her half-brother Dan. If Fred's original estate stood, she'd have the millions she needed to pay him back and avoid jail. But if Audrey's claim held true, the children's inheritance was shrinking to 0. Fred's family only had days to act. If he made it to his lawyer's office to sign the new papers, the fortune they had suffered through decades of abuse to earn would be gone forever. This wasn't just a family falling apart, it was a deadline. To ensure the inheritance remained with the children, Fred Merton had to die before he could pick up a pen. Police eventually found a single hair inside a car used on the night of the murders. The DNA match didn't point to the children. It pointed to Irina, the housekeeper. A witness reported seeing Irina's Civic car, with its identifiable license plate, idling at the edge of the Merton property during the exact window of the killings. Police arrested her for the murders. However, Irina didn't leave her house that night. She kept a spare set of car keys hidden in her backyard garden, a hiding spot that Catherine, Dan, and Jenna had known about since they were kids. The killer didn't just take a life. They stole a car and systematically framed the woman who had helped raise them. It's a level of cold-blooded calculation that mirrors the father they all claim to hate. The true psychopath is still in the room, mourning with the siblings they've betrayed and waiting for the inheritance to clear. Shari Lapena's Not a Happy Family tracks the investigation to its final disturbing conclusion. Between a doctor who found the bodies, a brother with a forensic suit, and a sister with a fake alibi, the evidence is scattered across a broken family tree. Look at the facts. Who do you think inherited Fred Merton's worst traits? Share your theory in the comments before you read the book to see if you caught the killer.